Hey Ben, Happy New Year. It's great to see that you're still at it in the snowy weather in Calgary, but let's get to this. So things are looking really good. There's definitely some progress that's been made, but I still want to point in on where our opportunities lie moving forward. Okay, so let's just take a look at this left video to start with, the down the line video. Now, elements of the backswing, I don't really have any concern. You're now getting a much better job done with that trail leg. So this is huge in terms of the, like we call it the depth that you've created through that left hip, the space that you've given yourself. And what this really helps with is it helps the golf club to stay shallower coming down. Okay, so the golf club is now taking a line that's closer to that trail elbow, that left elbow coming into impact. So much better here. Really happy with that progress. Now, where things are still a little bit loose is a sort of through impact into that release pattern. So you see what that left arm is wanting to do. That left arm wants to come off the body and rotate more internally, and that takes the face and it closes the face at a faster rate than we would ideally like to see it. Okay, so when we sort of look at how the club's reacting in through this part of the golf swing, where that face is at that point, where that face reappears on the opposite side of the body over here, we can see that it's rotated over more than we'd like it to be. Okay, so just as a frame of reference for you, you know that there's roughly the angle of the face at that point in the follow through. We probably don't want to see it much more than about there. Okay, so as we work on what I'm going to describe next, we're probably going to see the face reacting more in that exit position, in what looks like more of an open position than it currently is. So what we just want to understand is that we've got to get two things better for this to occur. One is we need to create more space with the lower body for the upper body, the rib cage, the arms to be able to pass through with adequate space. So the hips, as they're currently moving right now, they are in reference to the relationship. Think of it as the relationship between where the hips are here and where the golf ball is over here. Okay? The hips are moving slightly closer to the golf ball as you're coming into impact. Okay? Ever so slightly. And what I want you to start feeling in through this part of the downswing, and when we understand how thoughts influence movement, we have to respect the fact that it takes time for a thought, like a movement thought, to actually occur. Okay, so if I think of moving in a certain way, my body doesn't actually start moving until almost half a second later. Okay, so where I would be really trying to think of this is like right at the top of the swing. Have the feeling that your hips, the overall direction that they're moving, is a lot more away from the golf ball. Okay, so they're going to be pushing, you know, if the golf ball is right here, your hips are going to be pushing away from the golf ball going through. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you just a little bit more space. It's also going to keep your torso down a little bit longer, and that's going to be favorable for us. So if we can have this sensation coming into the downswing that your hips are pushing more back in this direction, it's going to give the torso a better chance to be able to react the way we need it to. Now your trail arm, your left arm, I'm also going to have you hit some shots where you have a glove or a small towel, something that you can really squeeze into that left armpit, because I want you to get the sensation in through this part of the swing, sort of like these few windows in through here, where that left arm, instead of it wanting to come off the side of the body, which creates a lot of rotation through your forearm, through the wrist, that arm would stay snug to the rib cage. Okay, so we can look at sort of where that left arm is there, and then we look at where that right arm is there. If we can have that left arm basically pinned to the side of your body and reacting more the way your right arm is, what we're going to have is we're going to allow that left arm to extend down our target line without having the rotation through the shoulder joint and forearm joints. So what we're trying to minimize in through this part of the swing is we're trying to minimize excess face rotation. Okay? Now, the more that left arm rotates off the body, as you see it there, the more the face, the club face, is turning over. Okay? So that increases the randomness of our direction of shot. So the more that you can train that left arm to stay snug to the side of the body and extending with the body instead of off the body, so think of extending as just straightening. The arm is allowed, and we want the arm to extend and straighten, but we just want to do so without the rotation. Okay? So it'll feel as though it's almost staying really snug to your rib cage, almost the side of your lats, and you'll feel that it extends down the target line, but you won't lose this sort of pressure point in through here. You'll still feel like you have the contact with the arm and the body. Okay, so by placing something like a glove or a small towel in that crease, in that fold between the arm and the chest, so right in the armpit, you'll really get a sense of how that pressure point feels, which should really help us. Okay, so that's what I want you to be sort of training in through this zone. I want you to be trying to feel like your hips move. Hips are moving that way, and that left arm is staying really pinned to the side of the body as you're traveling in that downswing. Okay? Now, I'm also going to have you experiment a little bit because this isn't a big concern of mine, but it's just a subtle piece of awareness that we're looking at. You know, we've always sort of chatted about this idea that the head wants to back up quite a bit through impact. Okay, now sometimes this is just a response to what's happening, in this part of the swing, in this downswing here. But I still want to give you a drill that I believe will help clean this stuff up. So what I'm going to have you do is hit some shots with a ball position that's really forward. Okay, so these can be short irons and mid irons, but place the golf ball as far forward in your stance as you can get it. So the more forward that you get the ball in your stance, obviously the more this is going to be exaggerated. So we can start with placing the golf ball just opposite your right foot. And what I want you to have a feeling for going through the shot is try to have a sensation that your chest is actually really pulling towards the target. Okay? Now, I want you to understand that I don't actually coach this. I would coach people to feel like as they're going through the shot, the hips are moving towards the target, the head's sort of staying just behind the golf ball, and we create a nice sort of reverse C in the finish. But given how your head wants to back up a little bit more than we'd like to see it, okay, that sort of pattern of the head falling backwards and that left arm wanting to roll over, we can clean that movement up by working on this type of a drill. Okay, so move that ball way forward, really focus in on trying to get the left side of the chest. Okay, so the more that you think of getting the left side of your chest to work through, okay, that's what's going to really help you to sort of, we can think of it as anchor or more stabilize the upper body through impact. Okay, so we'll see less of that backing out effect. Okay, so work on some shots with a really forward ball position with the main thought being, okay, get that left side, sort of left arm, left shoulder, left chest, get it through. And what you can also look for in terms of the ball flight is with that really forward ball position, see if you can keep the face square through impact, okay? Because your pattern, your current pattern, if you were to throw a ball that far forward, you'd probably hit a massive, massive pull hook. Okay, so I want you to use that forward ball position and see if you can still hit a shot that goes straight. Okay, so you'll have to do a better job clearing and getting that left side through it. Okay, so a couple things for you to work with, but that's why we're chatting, is just for you to be able to have things to train and to work on over the off season. Okay, so just scanning back through things, number one, I would say let's have the awareness of getting the hips pushing back and out of the way. Okay, so the hips are pushing away from the golf ball going through. That left arm is staying snug to the side of the body and extending down the line instead of rotating over so much. And then the last piece, just trying to work on stabilizing the upper body going through, and we're going to do that with that exercise of having that forward ball position and really trying to get left shoulder, chest through the shot to minimize the backing up and backing out effect. Okay, so great stuff, Ben. As always, let me know if you've got any questions. But really good stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing the updates.